right, and we're back with another episode on the Desert Shift. We are graced here with a pitching trainer, Grayson Liebhardt again. Thank you very much for coming back on. You're probably sitting there wondering why we're wearing jerseys. Let's just address that right off the rip. Go ahead. This was your deal. You can go ahead and rip it.
It is Jersey Thursday. Shout out my friend Corn from the OG days.
Corn?
He inspired this. This is his nickname,
cool.
is Corn.
Okay.
Joseph, if you're watching, I'm going to send you this.
It's all because of him. It's all
Jersey
because of you,
Thursday.
buddy.
We're back.
That's really cool.
Von Miller, Brock Bowers.
Yeah, I got Brock Bowers. Do you have any reason why you picked Von Miller? Broncos fan.
Broncos country. Let's ride.
Okay. I picked Brock Bowers because of a fantasy football thing. Just for context, I'm not a big Raiders fan, but Brock Bowers last year went, I think it was like 16 rounds. I think I got him in like round like 13, and nobody wanted him. And I was like, did we just forget that this guy was like really good? I think he went to Georgia, right? He was like a pretty good tight end at Georgia.
Yeah, you must play with some unserious fantasy football.
They're not bad. I think everybody was just like, oh, rookie tight end, quarterback situation. You know, it was like not the best quarterback thing. And at the time, they still had Devontae Adams, so it's kind of like he was like the maybe. And they had this is the weird thing about the Raiders. They actually drafted the tight end in the first round 2 years ago.
Michael Mayer?
Yes. And Brock Bowers the next year. Who the hell takes two tight ends? They can only play one of them most of the time. Like, that's just
It was
weird.
a good choice.
It was a very good choice. He ended up winning me the fantasy championship, which is hence why my dad got this for Christmas for me last year, and it is one of my favorite jerseys that I have. So
that's awesome.
Jersey Thursdays in Arizona. So if you're an Arizona athlete and you want to showcase a cool jersey, you have one, or you're listening and you want to be a part of it, or if you're just like working here and you listen, like wear one on Thursdays. We're gonna do it every Thursday. Maybe we'll have like a different type of idea every Thursday or something like that.
Yeah.
But jersey seems good. But anyway, one of the big topics that I want to talk about today is artificial intelligence. That really freaky thing that's been growing out of control, it feels like, over the last couple of years, and in the last year especially. How do we use it? How do we go about it? Let's just talk about it. Let's dive into it. I think it has a lot of uses. I actually saw some pretty cool stuff on Twitter with two people that actually work. I think it's Roy Krishnan. I'm going to say his name poorly. And Alex Britton, who is a sports scientist for us. Both of them had a really cool little back and forth. And it wasn't a bad thing. Like, they were just like, one of them posed a question and the other one kind of responded. And it was kind of a little back and forth of like, I disagree but agree. And it was really cool. It brought up some really good stuff. So how do you look at AI as something that we use in baseball? Like, do you think it's a good thing that we have it?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I think my personal opinion on artificial intelligence as a whole is, obviously we don't want it to, replace our normal capabilities as a human using our brain. But if you are someone who's super anti-AI, you're like, oh, my job's getting cooked. I suck at using AI. I hate it. I'm never going to use it. You're probably going to get passed up by the people that are using AI. Hate to break it to you. It's going to be a part of everything moving forward. It's like a cell phone, right? When the cell phone came out, there were people that are like, I'm not going to buy
I'm using my pager still, man. This thing's way easier. Simple. Yeah.
It's like, no, everyone has a smartphone now.
Yeah. Just took a little bit of time.
AI is going to be the same way. In general, everyone is starting to use AI. Be one of the people that uses it to your advantage rather than someone who disagrees with it, because it's not going to go away.
Yeah.
Just plain and simple, it's not going to go away. Having it on your side and knowing how to use it is going to be a huge skill moving forward. And it's just another way you can set yourself apart.
Yeah, I would agree. I think a lot of people get freaked out because they're like, oh, AI is going to come from my job. And I think the way that I explained it I have a friend in finance, and he's like, it's so much faster. It's like, it's literally a computer, right? It's artificial intelligence, the smartest thing on earth, basically, that we can train. He's like, my job's just going to get taken over. And I'm like, well, in some areas, I'm sure, but in other areas, I feel like it'll just be like it'll just help people so much more of like the monotonous little tedious things that aren't that fun, that take a lot of like time consuming shit. That's like, I don't want to spend 2 hours. I think of people that do like coding or work with numbers like a ton,
For sure.
Finance, coders, stuff like that. Like things that take a large mass amount of information and able to sift through it very quickly, where it would take somebody 4 hours, it might only take them take AI 15 minutes. That saves you 3.5 hours basically to dedicate that towards something else. So it all depends on how you look at it. But I do think that it won't replace people. What it will replace the monotonous little jobs, the little things that like it shouldn't take you more than things that might take an hour that are tedious might only take 5 minutes now. And I think it'll only be and this is gonna go. We'll probably get into this later. I think it's a great question. I was thinking about it when you said this. Is like people that have like the lazy way of using it, and the people that are going to use it for their advantage. It's only going to make them like there might be here right now, and AI is somewhere in the middle. It's only going to separate those people really, really far, and you probably don't want to be on that end of being replaced.
You do not want to be.
You use AI a lot, right? I mean,
Yeah.
how much is your AI like using it here in terms of our job? Like, how much do you use it, or what do you use it for?
I use it
Honestly,
for
I don't know.
everything. I mean, in general, I've used it for some crazy stuff. Like when I drove out to MLB Draft League last summer, I had it planned my
Oh, you're
entire
using it before
trip.
you even got here.
Oh yeah,
Oh, good for
I've
you.
been
Oh,
using
that's
AI
cool.
for a few years now.
Nice.
If I get stumped with homework, if I'm having trouble studying,
Yeah,
it's very efficient to help with that.
that's really cool.
As a student, as a coder, it's super helpful. I don't code as much now as I did, but if you're getting stuck trying to visualize something with
Mhm.
R here, like you're trying to make a post game report, you can use the resources online that people post with like, okay, this is how I build my report. This is how I access these databases. If you feed ChatGPT, for example, that context, that information,
Yeah,
you can create your own report in probably like a 15th of the time that it would take
damn,
for you to just code it yourself.
that's really cool.
So it can provide you a lot of information and also help you troubleshoot problems that you might be encountering. So,
Elaborate a little bit. What do you got? What do you mean?
so let's say, for example, the content system,
Okay,
that Kyle Bodie built,
okay.
that is super helpful. Also utilizes AI.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If you're having trouble with that, you could, let's say the computer isn't working how you want it
Uh-huh.
to, files are going to a certain location. You can provide AI all the context of the situation. So
Mhm.
let's say your computer's failing for whatever reason, you give ChatGPT, okay, I'm having this problem with my computer. It shuts off randomly, or it gives me this error message, and I can't stop it from happening.
Okay.
If you give it that information, it will read from the large language model. Okay, these are all the scenarios that happen with these error messages.
Okay.
This is likely what the case is, what's most common, what's least common. It'll give you troubleshooting tips for
Like
each of those
one,
problems.
step two, step three.
Yep.
That's ridiculous. See,
So
like I don't even know that. That's
yeah.
really cool.
And like you could do this with TrackMan, right? You could like be like, okay, I keep getting a B1 error on TrackMan. What are the most common causes?
Yeah.
And it'll tell you your AC is on, maybe it's in the wrong positioning, stuff like that. So there's a copious amount of uses for AI, but just like daily life like that, it's super helpful. Like I said, it planned my road trip across the country
That's
last year.
sick.
I'm using it to help read my Aura Ring data, and help me create a meal prep
Wow.
plan based off of that,
Wow.
to
You're
help me diet. But like, there's infinite uses. It's just you got to be creative, and there's so many different ways you can go about it. Another example could be like, let's say you have a pitcher, and you're like,
Mhm.
I'm trying to get this guy signed. Here's his arsenal. Here's his mechanics. Find me similar MLB pitchers
Mhm.
in terms of release height, their kind of arsenal profiles. What do they do differently that my pitcher could do to get better? So you could look at it that way. I've used that with a couple of my guys, like high slot sinker throwers, sinker slider
Yeah, yeah.
guys. It's like, okay, Bruised Gratterall,
Find me
stuff like
more
that.
guys that are like that, and what does their
Exactly.
arsenal look like? I mean, even looking at their movement patterns, like what do they do that's really, really good?
Yeah.
Clearly, they're doing something right.
What are their
Do
strengths?
you,
What are
do
their
you have to
weaknesses?
prompt it? Because I know for our Chat GPT, that's like our, I think it's our department, but also it's the entire company that uses it.
Mhm.
Like now, I think it's because we've prompted it so much and we've given it so much information over time. Like if I tell a guy, hey, I have a guy that's struggling with command, I think what happens is like the more you train it, the more it understands and the better it gets. Like if I tell our Chat GPT, for example, that I have a guy that's struggling with command, what would be your suggestion? It would say like throw unintended zones tracker. These are things to
Mhm.
look for. Throw these command balls. I think if you have a fresh account that you just started, it probably wouldn't suggest that because it doesn't know about intended zones yet, right?
Yeah, it really depends
Okay.
on the information it has access to, one. So it's only like everything that's on the internet for like a certain range of time.
Oh, okay.
So it only updates every so often. And then as well as like if you say something to ChatGPT in one conversation,
Hmm.
then you go to a different conversation, it might not remember that. I'm not as
That's
well
funny.
versed with how that works between conversations. A lot of it is just because like if you were to give it confidential information, um,
Can't.
you don't
spit
want,
back out.
yeah,
Yeah,
you don't
that would be
want
bad.
someone else being able to ask the same question and be like, oh, that's all that guy's information.
Yeah, that's all. Look at this stuff that
Um,
he did. Look at it. Check it all out. That'd be really funny.
exactly. So you kind of got to be careful with that. But
Interesting.
usually, the more context you give it, the
Yeah.
better answer you will get. This is one thing like Bodie talked about in the founders meeting
Hmm.
a week or two ago. Really, like the biggest skill you can learn is just learning how to prompt
Yeah.
AI
Yeah.
better, because you
Yeah.
may prompt it poorly and get the wrong answer, or not get like the image created the way you want.
Yeah.
Like I've had problems with threads where it's like it prefers European like formatting for numbers, which is really weird,
That
where
is
it'll
odd.
do a comma instead of a period
That's
as like a decimal.
that's so weird.
So like I've ran into issues like that, but at
Huh.
the end of the day, I just need to get better at prompting it,
Yeah.
right? Which just takes time, reading, learning, but
I was say just messing around with it. I think that's probably the biggest and most important piece.
for sure.
Like, because people always ask us, like, how do you use AI? Like, I have athletes that'll hit me up, like, how do I do this? How do I do that? Where do I even start? It's like, just ask it anything. Like,
Yeah.
literally ask it anything. Like, there's no wrong. Like, my mom, for example, loves to just like ask me stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like her all knowing person. I'm like, I am not that person anyway. But I'm just like, mom, like, if you have something wrong, like, she has a Tesla and she's like, I can't seem to
Mhm.
figure out the Wi Fi connecting to the house. And I'm like, oh, like, that would be a great thing to like ask Chat GPT, ask
Yeah.
Claude, and what is it, like $10 a month? I think like the highest upgrade you can get is like $20 a month.
Yeah, I mean, I have my own premium account because I use it for studying all the time.
Yeah.
But there's also a free version. So like you can just use Chat GPT for free and only get like a certain amount of
Yeah.
tickets or prompts
Yeah.
that
You
you
can
can
get like a certain
use.
amount of questions or prompts that you can give it in a day.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you can use it for free. And like if you're wondering how to get started with it, ask yourself what is taking up the most time that you feel is
Mhm.
not like worth that energy or effort.
That's a really good way of looking at it.
Yeah.
I thought like my biggest suggestion usually is like that's even better. But my original suggestion would be just like ask it anything and just like start by asking it and realizing like if you just slightly change one word, like how does the answer change from the model that you're the bot that you're asking it to?
Yeah.
I think that's really important because like the way that you word, it makes you very concise in the way that you word things, and it makes you really detailed oriented instead of it just being like how do I fix this? It's like, well, there's a million different answers for that. But if when you get down to the nitty gritty and you break it down to like the smallest form of like, I am trying to fix this exact thing, this is what's going wrong, and this is the things I've already tried, it's able to give you an infinitely better answer that way. But
Oh,
finding a
absolutely.
way that's like what takes a lot of my time. I guess I kind of did that on my own on accident. So last year during the pro off season, we were just slammed. I think now is even another time that we're just absolutely slammed.
For sure.
I would have it on my phone and I would talk to it because you can talk to it and it'll give you audio stuff back.
Yeah.
And I would say, I'm going to prompt you throughout the day and I would like you to organize my thoughts into a red, a yellow, and a green. Red needed to be done within 24 hours. Yellow was by the end of the week and green was like by the end of the month. And I just remember being like, because out on the floor, you just get slammed out there and you're like, damn,
Yeah.
like this guy needs to edit this. I forgot to edit that. I got to run this video. I got to grab this for Gargis or for Grayson or whatever. And it's like, by the end of it, it's like, fuck, I just got off the floor after 4 hours and I'm soup. My brain is mashed potatoes. I don't know what the
Yep.
hell went on out there. Just being able to have your phone and being like, remind me to put Noah Cole's programming into whatever. And I remember doing that, and I use Noah because I remember that being one of the specific cases. It's like,
Yeah.
oh damn, I got to remember to do that one. I went back like later in the day when I got to my computer. Boom, boom, boom. I had like 25 things, but
Yeah.
it was like, oh damn, like I only have 8 red things, 4 yellow things, and like 10 green things. It makes it a
For
little bit
sure.
easier, lot better organizationally.
Yeah, especially
Pretty
like
sick.
helping you prioritize your tasks. Like that's a
Yeah.
big thing too, especially with what we do. Athletes ask us so many different
Yeah.
questions. We have so many different things we got to handle at certain times. Being able to have a list where it's like, okay, I need to get these three things done for my athletes immediately, or
Yeah.
they're very urgent, compared to where it's like, oh, I have this project I'm working on. I can take a little bit longer with
That could
this.
be the end of the week thing. Yeah.
Yep.
That's-
Having that information all in one area and having it organized as well is super helpful. And that's one thing I talked a little bit about, like Aura Ring stuff with
That's really
using
sick.
AI. It's
It's
like
really
you can
sick.
feed all this information. You can feed it a ton of information. You can give it CSVs from TrackMan, and it'll be able to organize it so much better than you could in
Oh yeah.
literally
I
a
can't even
quarter
imagine.
of the time.
I can't even imagine. Because I think of me and like I'm pretty old school and I'll like take my notebook and stuff and I'm like, why do I
Yep.
even do this stuff? Like I think I retain the information a little bit better, but it's just so time consuming. Then I go back and then I can't read my handwriting or whatever. It'd be way easier to just like prompt something and tell it to just put it in there and organize it for me.
Yeah.
Um,
And
go for it. Go
one
for it.
one way I use that, because I personally, I'm kind of like you. It's like I like writing things down
Hmm.
with my hands. I like being able to hold things,
Yeah.
physical. Yes. But like for me, one thing that's been really helpful is I take notes very sloppily.
Okay.
So I'll take pictures of my notes and then just give them to Chat GPT and it'll organize everything perfectly for me.
Oh my God. Why
Yeah.
didn't I think about that?
So let's say I have a day where I have 4 or 5 athlete meetings. I'm
Yeah.
reading all these biomech reports. I'm like, okay, he told me this information about like his season, stuff like that, but I forgot. One way that is really easy for me to organize everything, I take notes every meeting. I can just take a picture of each page. Boom. Everything is just right there in front
You
of
just
me,
tell it to organize
organized.
it and like put my thoughts into concise, clear manner so I can read this later. Wow.
Exactly. Organize it by athlete. What's more
Wow.
urgent? What do I need to know to program him? Everything like that.
So that brings me. So the thing I saw on Twitter between Alex and Roy
Yeah.
was Roy's theory or Roy's question to it was, do we believe AI is good, inherently good, or inherently bad? Um, Roy's kind of opinion on this on the Twitter thread was like, oh, he worries that it's going to basically intellectually limit us because we are going to rely so heavily on AI for the mundane that like at some point the creativity and our ability to just like actually retain information and learn is going to decrease because we're just going to rely so heavily on AI. Where
For
on the
sure.
other hand, Alex, who again is a sports scientist down in Florida, both really smart guys, by the way. I don't know if you've met either one of them, but they're really, really cool. Alex was here for a little bit of time when he interned and before he went down to Florida. But his theory was it's only going to widen the gap. That now, instead of the intellectually really, really intelligent people, those people are just going to leverage it really, really well. And it's just going to make the gap between the lazy, not very smart people that use it lazily and just kind of do it for everything
Yep.
are going to continue to stay here while the very intelligent people that are very creative are going to, instead of getting caught up for hours and hours on something like a coding thing that could take 5 hours, it could take ChatGPT 30 minutes. It's like now that person has 4.5 hours to really find the creative stuff to push themselves forward. Which one would you argue with? Because I could see both. I could see both ends of the spectrum. To be honest, I could see both sides having a very clear and valid argument.
I think it's all about balance. My dad talks about this with me all the time about everything with life. It's everything in moderation,
Anything
right?
of
So
any too much of anything is probably not very good for you. Yeah.
exactly. So with AI, with school, I have a class that we're doing a whole project on this with
Okay.
AI regulation being super important.
Hmm.
I think for our setting and our application, it's super helpful,
Okay.
especially with like R&D, sports science.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
super helpful in those departments, and those people can gain so many more insights that help us make decisions in a much faster time frame, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
super helpful for learning more. But at the same time, you have to understand why those things work and why they
Yeah.
make sense. You can't just get an answer and be like, okay, yep,
That's it.
yeah.
That just is what it is because the bot told me so.
For sure.
Yeah.
And so that's like where people are getting really concerned. And what I see all over the internet is people are like, you're having AI, figure out what 2 plus 2 is. It's like, what are you doing? Like, let's figure out how to use our brain a little bit. Let's make sure we have that good foundation of
Yeah.
knowledge, to where we're not asking our car or asking our AI like super stupid questions about our car, like, how do I go get gas? It's like
Yeah,
stuff
that's
like that. You got to
ridiculous.
be like, dude, let's use our brain. Let's be a little bit smarter. A little bit of critical thinking skills. So I definitely get that concern because there's a lot of things that you could figure out with AI,
Mhm.
and it has all that knowledge in one space. That's never going away.
I was gonna say I think that's the scary part for me is
Hmm.
it's only going to get bigger and better,
Yep.
which is like I don't know where it's gonna go. And I
Yeah.
think that's what like freaks out most humans about stuff is like the unknown.
Yeah.
Like we don't know a lot of stuff about like, outer space. Like people like freak out about that. Why? It's
For
because like we
sure.
just don't know. Like we don't
Yeah.
know if we're alone on this world or we're not. Or are we? Like it's both of them, both ends is very scary.
Yeah.
There's more people out there or not. It's kind of the same thing with AI. It's like you just don't know where it's going to go. You don't know
Yeah.
what the links it will learn, like what will we prompt it with. What happens if it gets into the hands of the wrong people? There's
That's
bad people in the world,
that's the
and
biggest thing.
keeping it away from those types of people, it's almost inevitable
Yeah.
that shittily that will happen. But I think that's just so like I'm obviously that's very it's like nihilism. It's like
Hmm.
nothing matters, but everything matters. Like I
Yeah.
don't know. But I think it's really interesting, and especially in baseball. Like I think like where do you think like in terms of AI for baseball? Oh, sorry. To wrap up like what I kind of thought about Roy and Alex, like I'm kind of with you as well. It's very in the middle. I do think it'll broaden the gap, but I also think, like you said, we need to make sure that like we can't be all like you probably shouldn't be that lazy with everything and just use it
Yeah.
for every little thing. You have to have some type of like understanding the why is very important. Just prompting and getting the answer, like then somebody asks you a question about it and you're just like, I don't know. Like it's
Yeah.
like Patrick with the little thing when it turns it on. It's like,
Mhm.
boo. It's like I don't know. Like your brain just like
Yeah.
turns off. It's like no, you need to understand it. If you're going to speak on something, speak intelligently and be able to elaborate. I think that's where people that are very, very intelligent are going to continue to use it to their advantage and
For
continue to
sure.
broaden that gap. So,
And there needs to be the biggest thing is there needs to be some sort of regulation of how powerful AI can become. It's super helpful for these things and tasks we're talking
yeah,
about, but once you start integrating it into the workplace, or into the workforce with factories, stuff like
yeah,
that, that's where it can become a problem where it's like you just can't give AI too much power. That's
right.
my biggest concern is
For real.
you can't give it too much power because then the wrong people can get their hands on it and
I
they can
know.
develop something that is way more powerful than the human mind can even
It's
comprehend.
insane. Yeah, I think of like it's literally like Terminator. It's
Yeah.
like the Terminator. Like if we ended up ever being able to put this AI thing into a robot, like that's probably
Yeah.
really bad. Like I don't know what's gonna happen, but like I don't know if that's in 50 years, 100 years, 5,000 years. Like I don't know, but that is a really
Exactly.
wild thing to even think about. That we're living in this day and age of like that is a kind of a possibility
Yeah.
any day now.
It's almost inevitable because humans on Earth, we are driven to innovate.
I
That is
know.
the
We're
biggest thing.
just so damn smart. We have so many intelligent people,
Yep.
even in this building. Like I'm freaked out. Like I think I said it earlier. I was like, I don't know if this is possible with that scanning thing. I was like, but I don't put anything past Jared Skolnicky.
Yep.
That guy is a genius. I
Oh,
love
he'll
that.
figure out anything.
Yeah, I'm like, this is probably stupid. And he's like, yeah, he's very calm. He's like, yeah, just tell me about it. And I tell him, and he's like, it's hard, but like I could do it. Like you could do that? What do you mean?
And
Like
then
that's insane.
you look up 2 weeks later and it's
And it's built
implemented.
out. It's fucking perfect. You're like, my God, I work with some really smart people.
Yeah.
That's the damn coolest thing about working here. It's
Like the schedule at the front desk with the code and everything.
dude, it's
Like
so damn cool.
Jared spent a lot of time on that, and I know Garrett York did. And it was just like one day I came into the facility, I can see what
Every
everyone's
athlete
doing
that's
at every
supposed to come in.
hour.
Yeah.
What's the door code? Like it just makes things so much easier for
Yeah.
everyone.
Really cool.
So shout out Jared, by the way.
Dude, for real shit. Jared is the
He
man.
goat. Also ambidextrous thrower.
I saw that. He had an intended zones tracker. He left it up from yesterday, or just like the last
Yep.
one that ran. And it's a Jared Skolnicky righty. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what are we denoting here? There's also a lefty, and then
Yeah.
sure shit, there was indeed a left hand. I've seen him throw left handed. Actually, I thought he was left handed only. Did not know he threw right handed as
There
well.
was one night I walked out on the floor after most people had gone home, and he's wearing 2 pulses, one on each arm,
I mean, geez.
with like 2 phones. And I'm like, Jared, what are you doing right now? He's like, I'm getting my throwing in. What do you
Jeez.
mean?
I know that's the most ridiculous part. Like we all still like throw and train and do dumb stuff. Like I'm
He's a
sure
natural
Jared has no
thrower.
reason to do that. He's just like loves baseball and loves
Yeah.
throwing.
He loves figuring shit out.
Yeah. So my next question would be like for AI, it's like, do you think there are? I know there are teams. I mean, I'm sure there are teams that are already using it. But do you feel like where do you feel like AI in baseball will go, or do you have any like interesting thoughts that you've had about AI being with like MLB organizations or trickling down into college, high school, how we train people? Like, where do you think the next step is for us?
I can go down a few rabbit holes with this, but I have
Give me a good one.
points. Couple points. One, talking to Kyle Bodie, he is kind of the insider for us, which is really sick. We have someone that, has a lot more context and
Oh,
information
yeah.
than we do and is overall just smarter than me. Like I can ask that guy anything and he is
Probably gonna give me a pretty decent answer.
Yeah.
Very true.
So he's talked about this a lot recently where it's like big league teams are just not bought into AI that much.
Really?
Yeah. And he talks about this all the time. It's
Huh.
big league organizations are very stuck in their ways for the most part. That's why it took so long for player development to become what it is now.
I mean, shit, it's still not there for some places in the world are just still And it's pretty obvious. It's like,
For
God
sure.
dang it, like, why are we still doing this the way that we were 50 years ago?
Yep.
Clearly, things have changed.
A lot of poor methods are still in place, and that goes way simpler than AI with stuff that should just be used. Like there's teams that are still using certain technology that is super outdated,
Yeah. Yeah.
stuff like that. But um, going from there, like there's endless possibilities with AI as far as baseball goes. One headline that's kind of been going around lately with the Rafi Devers news is there's this report that came out about the Red Sox hiring process, about how they have video interviews where they'll
Huh.
prompt questions. They'll have questions and you just record a video of yourself
Answering it?
answering it.
Okay.
Which one, it was like put out to be such a terrible thing and just like awful for baseball, which you could make the argument depending on how many rounds, how deep that interview went.
Because it like lacks the human aspect of like
Right.
interacting with somebody.
Mhm.
Okay. I guess I
But
can understand that.
one thing you have to understand with baseball and jobs in baseball, I've had interviews like that before
Yeah.
I got here. I had one with MLB that was like that with another organization. But the biggest thing you have to realize is there's limited resources within these organizations.
Yeah.
There's limited people, and the amount of applicants for each
Probably
one of those
insane.
jobs, it's thousands,
Yeah.
if not hundreds of thousands of people
Wow.
just applying to these jobs. So when you talk about efficiency, it is so much more efficient. If you're gonna interview 100 people, ask them the
Mhm.
same questions, it is so much easier to have these people record a video of them talking if you're gonna ask the same questions,
Yeah.
and then save those human resources for the later stage interviews.
Like the stuff that's actually, it's almost like a preliminary thing. Like you got to
Exactly.
pass round one before you even like kind of get to round two or three or whatever, where
Yeah,
you actually meet somebody, because it doesn't make much time. It doesn't make much sense for them to waste time if you're a person that's applying and it's like you really don't have the necessary skills to even get to
for
that
sure.
next thing.
Like the amount of
Yeah.
prerequisite knowledge to get into a front office in baseball is so high, and there's so many questions that they have to ask to filter those people out.
Yeah.
That's like, to me, it makes sense. I think it's just going to be the future. Love it or hate it.
I
That's how
know.
it's going to be. There's going to be those interviews, and at the same time, they're a business, right?
Yeah.
So they care about money, and they don't want to pay people more so they can spend more time interviewing people.
Yeah.
It's
That's
just
a
not
waste of time.
exactly.
Makes me think of the Moneyball thing.
Yeah.
Right there. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, I think where AI goes from here is like the ability to find, so you can sift through a large amount of data, right? If you notice certain trends within baseball, you're able to identify, not only identify trends for like scouting reports and other things that come with like tendencies and just like, you know, year over year, what's happening. But I also think being able to identify like teams that adapt or evolve into using AI first will be like, there is this low or this rookie ball pitcher that throws something incredibly weird that doesn't fit into any of the models. He's not really pitching that well. Let's just trade for that guy.
Yeah.
It's like it makes it very easy for them to be like, we know nothing about the guy. It's the same thing on Moneyball when they go, well, how are we going to replace Giambi or whatever? And it's like, with that guy. Why? Peter?
Don't
Is
make
he-
me point at
Don't
Peter.
make me point at Pete. What is it? He gets on base. It's like,
Yep.
yes, he does the damn thing, right? Like he has all the underlying metrics that should indicate that he will be successful. And I think that teams that will utilize that will get ahead of the curve. And it's like their minor league systems will develop and develop and develop. And
Yep.
you'll all of a sudden start seeing teams just continue, just like that. You know, the conversation earlier on Twitter between Roy and Alex is like, it's just going to make the gap between the teams. I mean, I guess you could use it either way. The teams that are far behind could adapt to it and catch up finally, or it could be what I fear is like the teams that are already really good are going to adapt to it, implement it, and then just continue to widen that gap. And then you're
For
going to
sure.
have 5 teams that are just absurd every single year that are constantly developing athletes. And then you have other teams that are just like consistently known as like places that it's like, I don't know if I'm going to develop when I go there. I think that would be, what do you think about that? Do you think that's already happening? Yes or no? Do you think it will happen in the future? Yes or no?
I think it'll slowly start making its way into baseball.
5 years, 2 years, 1 year, this year?
You know, it's going to be a slow little trickle. It really
Yeah.
depends on the organization.
True.
I think you're going to see teams like the Brewers, the Rays, the Guardians, like those small market teams that tend to do a lot more with less. Like that's
Yeah, that's a good way
really
to put it.
the nature of being in a baseball front office is you are trying to maximize value with as little resources as you can.
For
right?
sure.
So you're
Absolutely.
trying to get the most out of the least.
Biggest ROI, return on investment.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And that's why there's teams like the Rays, the Guardians, the Brewers
Consistent.
that are just consistent. Their rosters have so much turnover.
And it doesn't, and that's what's crazy. It doesn't seem to affect them.
Yes, they continue to make the playoffs with less money spent.
Yeah.
And, the Dodgers, the Yankees, they do get it done and they do invest money in the right places.
Yeah.
That's why they were both in the World Series.
And they're consistently
And
in there in the playoffs.
Continuously, they're powerhouses. But that's the beautiful thing about baseball is there is room for those small market teams that know how to spend their money and know where to invest
Spend it
and
wisely.
can notice
Yep.
those trends. If I had to guess, it's going to be those three teams that pick up AI first, and then it's going to be Dodgers, Yankees, Mets, probably whoever has the most money.
I really fear it because I'm a big, big Padres fan, and I will never sit here and say that I don't like certain organizations. I just can't stand that the Dodgers do it so damn well.
Yeah,
It bothers the hell out of me. I have a lot of friends that work with them, and I'm very proud of them. I'm very happy for them. They have successful careers.
and it's really cool and good for baseball.
It's great for baseball, but damn it hurts every year that every time we play the Dodgers, it's like, damn, like they're just so good at those things, and
They
it's
can't keep getting away with it.
they just keep getting away with it.
Yeah.
It's absurd. And it makes me worry that like a team like that is just going, like they're already good and they already spent
Yeah.
money in the right places. And I believe they have a really good organization. And even athletes that I've trained that have been with the Dodgers organization, I don't think I've heard very poor things about their organization,
sure.
which is really cool. Take care of your athletes first. Take care of the
Yep.
guys. But like if those people start using it, it's like, gosh damn, like the NL West is going to be a disaster. It's already really competitive. Like I can't imagine the Dodgers integrating something like that and just making it even better is pretty nuts.
For sure. And that's one of the bigger changes we've seen with baseball over the past 10, 15 years is not like how it used to be was the small market teams were really good at research and development and making gains in those little departments where other teams were like, we'll
It
just
doesn't
buy
matter.
the players.
Yeah.
Now what you're seeing is, okay, all teams can kind of sign free agents.
Mhm.
Others much more than, or some much more than others.
Sure.
But you're seeing these teams invest a lot more into R&D, scouting, stuff like that. Those
Oh, yeah.
minimal gains just as much as those smaller market teams.
Yeah.
So it makes it harder for those smaller market teams to make those gains and close that ground, but they're going to find a way. There's going to be changes that happen in baseball that we don't even have. We have no clue what's going to happen in the next 15 years.
I think that's why I love baseball so much. I think
It's beautiful.
It's an annoying game when you're training and you're trying so hard. And sometimes like this game owes us nothing. It doesn't have feelings. Sometimes like you're gonna train your ass off and like you're gonna go through the ups and downs of training, of seeing your velo go up, see your velo go down. I'm sure injuries, like they're never going away. There are things that make the game so awesome, but it's such a beautiful thing that like when you put all of it together and all the craziness of it and all the things that it could go to, it's like, yeah, that's why we keep coming back and we keep like we come back the next day and we're excited to be working here because it's like we don't know when that day is either going to be today or tomorrow or next month. Like we're just waiting to be a part of that, and I think that's the coolest damn thing. So, I know AI for me has been really really helpful. I mean, like I said, just like organizing my day, just as monotonous as little stuff like that. I do think MLB teams will get to it in the next 2 to 4 years, probably. It'll start to happen.
If they're not already starting to integrate it, they're going to begin doing so.
I think it'll be really cool for like the acquisition side of things for like front offices, identifying players. I think it'll make its way into scouting reports. I know that
absolutely.
Being able to like have, you don't have to have guys go all the way out to somewhere in the middle of, Idaho to go watch this kid. It's like I can see it on video. I can see all the metrics. I can see all this data on him. I have places that he can go throw and I can like access it all. All that little stuff is going to be really, really imperative. And I'm pretty sure we're already using that to some degree, but I think it'll grow even more.
For sure. And you see it with scouting, especially. Area scouts aren't as like
common
they
anymore?
don't get. There's not as many jobs as there used to be.
Really?
Because their teams aren't sending as many guys out because they can get video. They can get all this data. And make decisions from there. I have a bunch of buddies that are scouts from draft league, from whatever I've done in the past few years. And what most of them are telling me is their job is more than anything turning into evaluating the person rather than the player,
which is still really, really valuable.
It's super important, and that's never going to go away.
Yeah,
and that's like why scouting, like amateur scouting, pro scouting is super important and always will be,
Yeah.
is because there's certain things you can't quantify.
Yeah, I think that's one thing about baseball that like probably will never stop is like I don't think it'll ever really replace most of the jobs. Like for me and you, like I am sure there's a world where we're gonna live in the next 10, I don't know, 2 to 10 years. I don't know. It's a broad range, but it's going to happen in our lifetime. Is like automated programming and like being able to spit out a program that has like success. Problem with it is that like you want to be able to talk to a human about it and you want the human element. And there are so many things that happen that are not tangible, like, you know, dealing with stresses outside of baseball and things that are without, like, I imagine like inside these walls is like very controllable. You know, I can manipulate the environment, I can do different things. But then when you leave, when an athlete leaves and goes home, like, I don't know, are they struggling at home? Do they have like some mental health stuff that's going on? Do they have family stuff that's going on? Anything like that, like that's where like the person side of things really, really matters.
Sure.
But I do think like that AI will leak into that at some point, and that's very interesting. I wonder how that will go because there's so
Absolutely.
much technology that we already have that like
Yeah.
we could pair it up, and it would be like arguably better than what our brains think.
Yeah.
Because at some point, like being able to like automatically do a deload when you have to wear an Aura ring, you have to have like your sleep. Like if you don't get enough sleep and not enough calories, and you don't do this and you don't do that, it's like you are at a heightened risk of injury right now because of the lack of recovery and nutrition. You cannot throw this velo day. Otherwise, we're instead of at a 1%, let's just say we're at a 10%.
Yeah.
That's not a very good chance. Like let's not do that day.
For sure.
I'm sure that day is coming. I think that day would be sick to be a part of.
And we're always going to be making like more informed decisions, and it might come to a point where AI is so good at what it does, like for your example, the programming, to where it can automatically write a program and then adjust it based off of all that information.
Day-to-day workload. I think about
Yep.
pairing it with Pulse. It's being able to take your radar gun readings. If you're like set up a camera, it sees the radar gun, it sees your pulse data, and it sees your TrackMan data or something
Yep.
like that. Like that would be unreal.
Yeah. The
It's
reason
so
why coaches are never going to go away, someone still has to execute the program.
True.
You got to teach this
And there'll
guy
always
how
be
to get better.
bugs. There'll
Yeah.
always be bugs. Things
There'll
that go
always
wrong.
be problems.
Yeah.
You can't 100% rely on it. Someone has to question it, be like,
Yeah.
okay, is this actually a good decision,
Yeah.
or is this just what the model has been trained to say?
That's a good point.
So
Yeah.
there's that, and then also the mental side of the game. Like that's just becoming ever so more important.
I think I was telling, I can't remember who it was the other day about this, was just like, I feel like that's what really separates guys that are good and great is like the athletic abilities and like the physical capabilities of a lot of guys when you get to like, you know, the really high end D1, minor league, and MLB. When you're comparing yourself to those different groups, like the talent level isn't that different most of the time. Like let's take like two big leaguers. The difference to me is like the guy that's really good and is a big leaguer and like hits, you know, 280, whatever, and the guy that hits 300 and is like consistently an all-star or whatever is simply like the ability to manage all that stress and the ability to like mentally be present every single day and being able to be really good at that. If you're able to do that, I feel like you're giving yourself the chance to succeed. If you're the guy, and the easiest example is like if you're a guy that walks the first guy on 4 pitches and it's like, God, I suck, I can't do this, this shit's hard.
You make
It's like ball
excuses.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
the
Ball
umpire's
stick.
fault. Like that's a terrible zone.
Yeah, exactly. Like shit like that, man. It's like at some point, the guys that just, you know what? I got my teeth kicked in today. I got to find out how I'm going to get better. I got to analyze the shit that I need to. I need to be a baseball player, use the technology that I find useful, and then go execute.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's on me to go do this thing. It's nobody else's fault. It's my career. I got to go do this damn thing. I feel like that mentality and the ability to kind of take that information and be mentally tough, you know, as some people say, is so invaluable and what keeps guys at their level or helps them either proceed or stay as a big leaguer. I think that's humongous for guys.
Absolutely. And like the biggest thing you got to remember is the big goal is to play 162 games
Yeah.
and well.
Yeah.
When you're like, I remember in draft league last year, I got a taste of like what that kind of schedule feels like.
It's tough, man.
I wasn't even playing and I was exhausted every day. 'Cause
Yeah.
You get one off day a week max.
Yeah.
Max.
Sometimes
you
13
don't.
days in a row.
Exactly. And you got to be able to handle all of that, one, mentally, two, physically, and then three,
That's dope.
emotionally. You're away from your family. You've got all these outside factors,
Oh, man.
but you got to show up ready to go at the ballpark every day and be an absolute
Absolutely.
dog, right? Like,
Yep. And you got to love it. You got to
Yeah.
love it. Otherwise, like, I think Derek Jeter said it best is like, and I think this is what helped me kind of walk away from my career was like the day that I felt like it was a job that I was like,
Mhm.
oh, I have to go to the gym. I have to go throw. I have to do my mobility. And I didn't look forward to it anymore. I didn't love it anymore. I was like, I probably don't need to go back to the game anymore and go play. I still love the game. I
Yeah.
love it a ton. I wish I could go back some days. But I know at the end of me, I'm like, I love my life with, my girlfriend now. I love my 2 dogs. I love I love my family being able I don't want to sacrifice that stuff anymore. And
Right.
I'm okay with that now. I think that's a tough thing to come to terms with when you're an athlete because you
sure.
just know one way. You're like, I am an athlete. But once you kind of like have that moment, like I don't know when that moment was for me, but I just felt free. I was like, wow, my life is so great. Like I have a
Yeah,
great life, even though I wasn't a big leaguer. Like I still loved every minute of the game, and I still
for
do.
sure.
Um, but yeah, I had the same thing happen in indie ball. I had never been a part of like 100+ game season. Wow, that was my first time going through it, man. And I started as a role as a pitching coach in May, the 3rd week of May.
Yep.
And oh my God, it was like I don't know, we had like 100 and something games in the Atlantic League, dude. By like September when the season ended, I was like, yo, I'm ready to like take a break. I got home and I just didn't do anything for like 2 weeks. It was
And
like I just want to sit down.
And that's maybe 100 games compared to 162,
62?
which is just
double.
insane. And there's guys that have played, 10
10
seasons
years?
consecutively without missing a game. Like Cal Ripken
Incredible.
Jr. doing crazy numbers back in the day.
Incredible.
It's nuts. I can't believe it.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. So, wow, what a fantastic topic on AI. That was really, I love that one. That was, I'll give you a little mid convo next for that one. That was really cool. So the last one I want to talk about, and this is new, is the athlete spotlight of the week for you. I didn't give you this information beforehand.
I know exactly where I'm going.
You already know? Okay,
Oh,
good.
yeah.
So every week, like we said, last week we started this. It was great. I had an athlete actually even come up to me. He was just like, man, it was so cool to hear my name out there. I was like, yeah, hell yeah, man. Thanks for watching.
Is that Trent?
Yeah, he was.
Goat.
I love that kid. That kid is so fucking funny and
Comes
awesome.
in every day ready to go, even though he
Roll Tide, baby. Don't get pit, nothing but Tide. I love it, dude. I was like, I want to go down to Alabama and watch a game.
Yeah.
Now, I'm like, he's like, it's an incredible environment. I can't wait.
To highlight him again, the best thing about him is he's on a return to throw program.
And loves every minute of it.
Every day he comes in with the biggest smile.
Big
on his
old
face.
smile.
Yep.
Lovely.
Makes
Okay.
me laugh every day. But
Who is your athlete spotlight of the week?
Arizona Athlete of the Week. One, shout out to my guys at PR today.
God,
It's
massive
none
PR
of
day.
you, but great work. Keep grinding. All my homies I see every day. Great work.
Love it.
It's your guy, Aiden Sandvik.
Oh,
Holy.
guy. I have another one, but yeah, that was.
Oh,
mine.
we're each doing one?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was a good
Well,
one. No, it's okay. It's okay. Go ahead. I have
Aiden
love
Sandvik,
this
I've seen him come in every day. He still leaves his liquid IV packets.
Oh god, we got to help him with the liquid IV
But-
packets.
Came in,
Yeah.
popping out what, 82?
I think in his initial mocap, it was like the best bullet he threw was 83. I think he averaged like 82, and I think he said the best bullet he's ever thrown all time in a game, biggest stimulus, 86.
So, 6-week on ramp, not even a velo phase.
No, well, we had a couple hybrid days in there. I won't,
Well, that's an on ramp.
Yeah, true,
on-ramp.
true.
So he gets done with his on ramp. Mocaps today. I didn't know what to expect, right? I had no clue
Truthfully, me either.
what I was going to see. I was doing flex pro grip with a couple of our guys
Yeah.
after their mocaps. This guy pops a 91 something.
91.5 in a warm up.
Ridiculous. Like,
what the hell, man?
just-
We turn the cameras on.
one of the biggest gains I've ever seen. So great work, coach, but also Aiden Sandvik.
Man.
Great work, dude. Like, we see the effort you put in every day. It was just
Absolutely.
absolutely electric seeing that. And that's what it's all about.
Oh,
right?
100%.
Like, we live vicariously through you guys as athletes. Obviously, our playing careers are over. So seeing you guys get results and succeed is just awesome for us. Like, it's
It was really
it's
cool.
a big day for you, Aiden, but also
Yeah.
I'm sure Daulton is just stoked today. Like, he's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
celebrate.
I feel good. I feel like that. What was the Will Ferrell?
Yeah.
I love it. No, I mean, and I appreciate the shout out from me, but like I always will deflect because
Yep.
I always feel like I did nothing.
And that's the nature of the coach.
Yeah, I know, and that's just because like I want the highlight to always be on the guy because ultimately I can give the best program. I could make it a perfect 10 out of 10 program. It's only up to him to lift the weights. We'll work on putting the liquid IV packets in the trash can. That will be step 2 of the that's step 2 in the progress. But to see like you said, the attention to detail, I'll highlight that as well. Like every day, I'm like, hey man, there are a lot of things that are gonna be like kind of just annoying. Like nothing
Yeah.
you're gonna want to call home about and tell your mom and dad that I did this today. It's like, a lot of shit that's just not the most fun. But
No
it's
one
a
wants
little
to come in and
W's.
do arm care every day.
No, not every day, but he's done it meticulously and to a T. And he's done things on his own. He's like collaborated with me. He's worked with the other guys. He's worked with you, Gargus. He's worked with plenty of other guys. So I am thankful for you guys helping him out, but also ultimately like him putting in the work is like means the world to me. So great job, Aiden. 92.2 on the radar gun,
Yeah,
91.4 confirmed on TrackMan in 6 weeks is crazy.
Awesome.
Truthfully, one of the biggest jumps I've ever seen. So
Yeah.
really, really cool. Okay, give me like 5 seconds so I can think of somebody else that's been absolutely killing it lately.
I would have let you take him if I knew.
No, it's fine. Okay. This guy, he's not even my athlete, but I will say these two dudes fire me up to the maximum. It's sick as hell. Can you have any guesses? They're training partners. They're really cool to work with. They're hilarious. I thought one of them didn't like me. He's just kind of quiet.
Did they mocap today?
No, they didn't mocap today.
Okay.
They will mocap soon, though. One's a sidearm guy.
Oh.
You got
Go
him?
ahead. Yep.
Sam Hart and what's Rondini? I only know him as Rondini.
Rondini.
Yeah, I only know Rondini's last name, to be honest. It's Andrew. I think it's Andrew. Anyway.
He's Rondini.
I only know him as Rondini. It sounds like Houdini to me. It's always really funny to me.
Houdini.
But those two dudes have gotten in here and have taken, I know they're only here for a set amount of time. It's not the whole summer. But they've really, really taken what all of us have been preaching for a long time. And what fires me up the most is I asked them the other day, did you go outside today? And they're like, dude, come on, man. Go outside every day. I go, they have not thrown a recovery day, a long toss day, a hybrid A day, nothing indoors. They have not thrown it one time indoors. So I think that's incredible to have that and to have a dude, like two dudes that never knew each other, never met each other before here, be like, hey, man, you going to train hard? She goes like, yeah, you too? He's like, yeah, you want to be training partners? And it was just like that meme of like the handshake. It's like,
yeah,
like, yes. They have gotten so much better in the short time here. And it's just like when you have somebody that's pushing you, you have an environment that's like pushing you to be better. And they're doing it, like they're having a ton of fun doing it. Like they lift together, they throw together, they recover together. I've seen them eat together. It's like, that is the damn coolest thing. Like that's what I remember and cherish about my time training here is like those dudes that I trained with, Carson Lindell, Herbie Good, all of those dudes, Albertus Barber, like all those guys like made my time here so fun and enjoyable. So Rondini, Hart, you guys are my two standouts. I know I couldn't do just one without the other.
I know.
Both of them are just like absolutely killing it. I can't wait to see them mocap again and see what they're going to do because if they continue up this type of work ethic, I am like absolutely like, I don't know where it's going to go and I'm super excited to see it.
Big thing to note too, they go outside every day. Mind you, we live in Phoenix, Arizona.
Right there, 111 degrees today.
111 degrees, and they're still going outside, tarps off.
Yep.
They're going to have a great tan by the end of the summer.
Oh, yeah. Sure. Well, that and they're still hydrating and they feel great. They're like, oh, yeah, it's hot. But, like, I'm enjoying the hell out of it. The hotness is down here, but they're how much they enjoy it is way up there. So it's a very well worth it trade in their minds, which is really, really cool. So anything else you want to hit on and touch on before we get on out of here?
Go Broncos.
God dang.
How many more? Cougs. Shout out AJ Block getting called up.
AJ Block did get called up to Double-A. It was very, very cool. He's been crushing it, dude. He was crushing it.
Cougs.
He's a Washington State guy.
Damn right.
Do you know him? You ever met him?
I've met him.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Here.
Oh, here?
Yeah.
Oh, I forget that you were.
Because he was older.
Yeah. He's a good dude. I really liked him. I'm really happy to see him. His offseason was very this. To see him go into the season and execute and just be like a damn good pitcher is sick. Really, really cool. So, all right, I think that wraps it up. If you've stuck around this long for us two numbnuts hanging out for this whole 50 minutes, we really appreciate you guys. Thank you. Thanks for hanging around. If you have any questions regarding AI, hit the comments. Feel free to DM us on Instagram, Twitter, on our pages, on Driveline's pages, like anything. We check them all. I check them all the time. So if you have anything for us that you want us to look into with AI, or if you're like, hey, I'm somebody that's new that's trying to get into it, how do I use it? What can I use it for? Read back to what you said because I thought that was great. But also feel free to reach out to us. So thank you again for watching. Appreciate it. And we'll be back next week with another episode. See you later.
Peace.
Good shit, man.